Our last measure of relative standing are the quartiles. And quartiles are really just specific percentiles. So recall the percentiles divide up your sorted data into 100 parts, each representing 1%. Quartiles divide the sorted data into 4 parts, each representing 25%. So let's sort of see graphically what that would look like. So say we have this, I'm just going to draw it like a number line, and here is our lowest value because we've sorted our data. And here at the top would be our highest value. So now we want to split that data into 4 equal parts. And if we do that, then what happens is we have 25% of the data in this part, 25% of the data here, 25% here, and then we would call this the top 25%. Remember, these are organized in order. Okay, well, this first break right here at the first mark is what we call quartile 1. And so at Q1, 25% of the data is below that value. So the next one here would be Q2, but now this should be something familiar to us. We have already seen a value that represents the value that has 50% of the data is lower and 50% is higher. That was a number we called the median. So Q2 and the median are the exact same thing. And then Q3 is the value in the data set that has 25% of the values lower than it is. So if this is Q1 represents the mark where 25% of the values are lower, this is also what we would call, let me get another color here, we would call this P25, right? It would just be at that 25% mark in our percentiles. And this one would have been P50, the value that has 50% lower, and then P75. So as I mentioned, quartiles are just percentiles. But these quartiles are really important. We use them a lot, and you'll see how here in a little bit in another video. There is no universal agreement on a procedure for calculating quartiles, so we will be using our technology, our TI-8384 technology, in order to compute these so that we're all on the same page, because there are a variety of, at least more than one way to compute those. So to avoid confusion, we'll just do that. Now, the one other thing I wanted to mention is there's another common statistical measure called the interquartile range. Interquartile range. Now let's just think about that. Interquartile. All right, in here are our quartiles, right? And so this range we know is like high minus low. That our general range, just range, is the highest value minus the lowest value, right? Well, interquartile range then, if we just look at this picture, it kind of makes sense that it would be our Q3, the highest quartile, minus Q1, the lowest quartile. And so you often see this abbreviated IQR. Q3 minus Q1. And again, we'll see how that can be used later on. So our last measure of relative standing were the quartiles. Quartiles are special percentiles just along the way. If we broke this up into 100, we'd still have our P25, our P50, and our P75. So quartiles, percentiles, and z-scores are measures of relative standing.